I'm ready for all today. Through all the pain, all the way, all the way. The fight to one for all, my life to love, we taking it all the way, all the way.
I think a discussion needs to be held about quarterbacks that are elevators of talent and sustainers of talent and relegators of talent. And it becomes apparent, like, who elevates talent around him. Like, for example, right now, CJ Stroud, he's elevating the talent around him. I don't want to say and crown him as an elite QB or a top tier QB, but he had no business performing this well. And the receivers on that team had no business performing that well. This offensive line, there's nothing that team had. They had no business performing this well. And right now, they're phenomenal fantasy aspects to your fantasy team right now. And Patrick Mahomes, he's an elevator. And then there's sustainers, like Kirk Cousins. He is a sustainer. He sustains the talent around him. He doesn't like elevate them, but he doesn't also downgrade and relegate them. Like Brock Purdy right now, he is a good sustainer of talent around him. And then of course there's going to be the relegators. Like right now, Derek Carr, he's a relegator of talent. Unfortunately, it hurts to say that. Whoever's the quarterback for the Raiders, relegator. Zach Wilson, relegator. There's a handful of quarterbacks. We can go down the list and, Pickett, he's a relegator of talent. Yada, so on and so forth. And I think when you're doing fantasy drafts, especially from here on out, and when you're picking up players on the waiver wire, I think a phenomenal question that you should ask yourself is, okay, is the quarterback on this team going to elevate my player? Is he going to sustain it or relegate it? And is this going to be an every week thing where, right now, I have a league where I thought I came out with a steal of Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and T. Higgins. Those were my picks, and I thought I was dominating at that point. And right now that team is struggling because the quarterbacks, they're all relegators of talent. Minus Joe Burrow and T. Higgins issue there, but that's a different story. And anyway, that's a thought process that I would like to hear your thoughts on. Of course, I am alongside Sheahan, the #1 Australian analyst. Sheahan, how you doing over there?
Tied. That's going to be my response, I think, for the rest of the time we do this show. It's It's an interesting thought you have off the top there. I know Bucky Brooks, the NFL scout, talks about the truck or trailer theory. So some quarterbacks are trucks; they will take their team on with them and improve them. Some are trailers, and they need those players around them to carry them, or they're part of something more. And I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with being a trailer. We've seen. At times in his career, Russell Wilson's been a trailer. At times he's been a truck. At times he should have been hit by a truck. But, just throwing out those names, I would go out on a limb, and this is probably a hot take. I don't think Mahomes is an elevator of talent. He's an incredible quarterback. He is possibly the best player to ever play the position of quarterback. That's probably how he'll be remembered. He can do things that people can't do. But from a pure fantasy perspective, he's had Travis Kelce, who was good when he got there. He had Tyreek Hill, who is incredible, has been amazing with Tua. Every year we look and go, is it going to be Valdez-Scantling? Is it going to be Sky Moore? Is it going to be Kadarius Toney? Is it going to be the Mecole Hardman? And it never is. Mahomes is incredible, but I don't think he elevates the talent around him. That team is a very good team, and he puts them in a position to win. And I think he elevates the play in an NFL perspective and gets them out of deep holes in that situation. But he's not an elevator from a fantasy perspective. The players are the players, and he's just a very good one.
That's an interesting take, and that definitely crossed my mind. But I just feel like it's really odd to put Mahomes in a sustainer category.
I think you have to be, and again, Mahomes, I think, is probably in this category. You have to be one of the very all-time elites to elevate the talent from a fantasy, and in an NFL level. From a fantasy perspective, you probably don't have to be. Like Brady did it for guys who probably couldn't get it done with others. I'd say Kirk Cousins might be an elevator. He tends to sustain two wide receivers. Derek Carr, when he was on the Raiders, like, you wouldn't necessarily put Carr and Cousins as better quarterbacks than Mahomes. In fact, you not even necessarily, you just wouldn't. But, you know, Josh Allen, you look at he's the topic du jour. He didn't really get anything done until Stephen Diggs got there. Gabe Davis has flashed, but you know, each year we look who's going to be that other pass catcher. They throw the ball enough, blah blah blah. I think there's a very real conversation to look at. Is he a truck or is he a trailer? And I think all quarterbacks in the NFL, they probably have times where they are trucks and times where they are trailers. But from a purely fantasy perspective, I think Allen can be a truck for your team without necessarily being a truck for his team.
That's a fair analysis and a fair point. Because now that there's 11 weeks in the season gone by, or 10 weeks. Right now, I kind of like to go on my rosters every so often and kind of reevaluate the talent and my draft strategies that I have put forth to, of course, conform my team. And a lot of the times I kind of sat there and thought to myself, well, you know, I thought the quarterback play would be better. Now, of course, Garrett Wilson and the whole Jets, we assumed Aaron Rodgers would be there, and I don't think we actually assumed that they would be struggling to this extent. Even with Zach Wilson, I didn't really think they would struggle. I know Zach Wilson isn't the best quarterback. I didn't think he would struggle this hard, personally.
Aaron Rodgers is an elevator of talent. We've seen that for a very long time with some very ordinary players. And we've seen that Zach Wilson is he's a net negative.
He's a relegator.
Yeah, he is a relegator of talent.
And Jimmy Graham, go ahead.
That sucks. That sucks for people who invest in Aaron Rodgers. And you draft a running back early and they blow out their knee. You can replace that running back. If you've gone in and you've got Breece Hall, Aaron Rodgers, Stack, or Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, something like that, you've invested heavily in the Jets early. That's like 4 picks out of your first 6 you don't have.
Yeah, and especially it becomes even worse because you see some running back success that happens around the draft area of the player, and you think to yourself, not only is it a negative that the player I drafted has a bad quarterback and has a relegated of talent, but then I missed out on a person who has an uptick of talent.
Yep.
But you know, of course, that's a 0 RB strategy when it happens to you, and it works out in your favor, and you do draft a bunch of good wide receivers, and then you happen to draft Raheem Mostert and DeAndre Swift. Then you look like a really intelligent person.
Yeah.
When it doesn't work out, then you're kind of itching for wins, and I mean, of course, we're all itching it, but you're scratching and clawing, and it is not going your way.
No. Speaking of wins, I was going to bring this up because I just think it's mildly interesting. I'm having the definition of a mid-season in fantasy this year. Like the very definition. So let me run through my record in my leagues this year for you.
Okay.
5 and 5.
Okay.
4 and 6.
Okay.
5 and 5.
Okay.
6 and 4.
Ooh.
4 and 6. 4 and 6.
Okay. Oh.
And now some of those I've started off really well. So I was 5 and 2 in one of those, and I've slipped to 5 and 5 after some pretty tight losses. Another one I was 4 and 5 this week, looked like getting a win, lost by 2 points. But another one I started off like 1 and 5, and I'm up to 4 and 6. So it's like it's been very swings and roundabouts. But I feel like I've had a difficult year in fantasy. It just hasn't quite gone right.
Why? Why do you think that?
I know in my home league I drafted a team I didn't like for no reason, just then I kept getting sniped on players I did like. And so you're settling for guys and you walk away from that just being kind of like, I'm okay with this team. Went after, I lost on the weekend because Lamar Jackson shat the bed. In a fantasy bed. I lost another game because Josh Allen shat the bed. And you look at it, you could say I lost that because I started Joe Burrow over Dak Prescott in that game. And I thought, well, Dak might be pulled from that game early if they're up by 4 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns. He's coming out they're going to be running the ball a lot. It was a recipe for me for a game of like 15 points. And then obviously he stays in, lights it up. The other stack I targeted, DK Metcalf and Geno Smith, didn't really work out, but that was like a fifth tier one, and I had to settle for that. But we'll see how this all plays out. But I've been on the back end of a lot of very close losses this season, or I've scored well, but the other team scored better.
Yeah, that happens a lot in fantasy, and I think this year I feel like points are just low this year. And right now, like last year, if somebody put up 130 to 140 and half point PPR, you'd be like, oh yeah, he had a really good week.
Yeah.
I feel like if somebody does that this year, you should kind of like go, wow, that's a really good week.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's nuts. One of my leagues, I talked about this at the time when I think I was 1-5 or 2-5, where I was saying, in the second or third most points for, and I'm still that, but I'm still a long way out of the playoffs because I just kept running into those buzzsaws early in the season.
Yep. Yeah, that's fantasy football. Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles,
Yeah.
and sometimes your dreams just become memes.
Yeah, it'd be nice for a couple of my players to get hot down the stretch.
Yes. I mean, of course, this is where the stretch where you really want to start evaluating your players, evaluating your talent, and then seeing, okay, if something went drastically wrong, why did it go drastically wrong? Was there logic in the decision making I had, or was it just kind of like I had to take this player because of the situation, or because he's the last good RB on the board, like Damian Harris. Of course, Damian Harris now he's starting to put some yards and get some touchdowns, but of course, originally people drafted him not because they wanted to, but because he was the last RB available.
Yeah.
And you kind of needed it.
Yeah, sometimes you luck into those guys.
Yes,
before we get into justifiable overreactions, I have a poem for you.
Okay,
and it ties into what we were talking about quarterbacks who are, promoters or restrictors of talent or maintainers of talent. I wrote this myself, by the way, so I want you to
Okay, I'm interested.
I do not like the man called Mac. I want to kick him in the sack. I do not like his stupid face. I want to hit it with a mace. He makes me want to scream and shout. I wish his dad had just pulled out. I do not want to watch him play. Every time I do, he ruins my day. I do not like that man called Mac. I think he's a fucking hack.
Hold on, let me snap my fingers for you. Nice. That was a good one. I like that one a lot.
And I don't think I'm alone in those feelings with him getting the fucking old school shepherd's crook off the stage from Bill Belichick at the end of that game. I loved that. It just the coach going, nah, I've fucking seen enough of this guy. Get him off.
It was bad. So, okay, hear me out. I woke up at about 7. So the game started at my time, 6:30, I believe.
About that.
And I woke up at around 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up and it said, "Oh, the game's on." I woke up late. Let me turn it on. And then I looked at the score. I looked at the teams playing, and I said, "Oh, wait, hold on. I'm not missing anything."
Yeah.
So I went back to bed.
I watched most of that game. I wasn't doing anything Sunday afternoon. Like, it was pretty chill here on the couch with the boy. And no, not a great game. It just annoyed me. No. It just absolutely annoyed me. And I don't think Mac Jones is necessarily a bad quarterback.
I think so.
I think in the right scheme, he's probably going to be fine. I think in the right scheme, he'd be better than Brock Purdy, potentially. And I think, he's probably going to get another contract in the NFL somewhere. But he's clearly done in New England. I don't think they know what they're doing. I think that if they're going to bottom out, it would be nice to see some sort of strategy in that, all right, we're not going to go the quarterback this year. We're going to build from the trenches, build out. But, it's so higgledy-piggledy that you can't even look at it and go, all right, well, there's the green shoots of a good team here. That, if we get...
Silver lining.
Yeah, we, do a bit of work on the offensive line, or if we can, get to the passer a bit better, and, we can start hitting those targets a bit more, we're going to look like a good competitive team. But it's hard to watch. And the worst part is, the Patriots they're not just bad, they're boring. And I think you could be a bad team. Like, some of those Lions teams were fun and bad. Like, the Browns under Deshaun Kaiser were fun and bad. And they were fucking bad. But, like, you're like, the Browns, they're doing something. You watch the Patriots, and it's slow fucking drives. It's penalty after penalty. It's mental mistakes. It's receivers giving up. It's drops. It just kills me. And, like... But the Patriots got in their own way on the weekend. But for the penalties, they probably would have and should have won that game. Their kicker missed a very gettable kick. But it just kills you to watch it. And I say that as a Patriots fan, but it kills me as a football fan. This bullshit keeps happening.
It's boring. Yeah, like you said, the worst thing you could ever be as a football team is boring. Yeah. And people like the Giants are up there as boring. I mean, it's interesting to see a rookie quarterback try to figure it out, but it's still not entertaining. And if you drafted somebody like Saquon Barkley, then, you get stuck in the area of a relegated quarterback that's hampering your talent on the offensive side. And that's not fun.
And there was a drive, yeah, you're 100% right. And there was a drive at the end of the game where they basically had, every play was a handoff to either Ezekiel Elliott or Ramondre Stevenson. And they were picking up like 5 to 7 yards per play. And that was fun to watch because you're sort of watching being like, all right, they know what's coming and they can't stop it. And you wonder where was that earlier in the season? And then B, like, when the game was on the line, you could have kept doing that because you were moving the ball. As soon as fucking Max started throwing it, it went tits up.
Maybe the quarterback's not good.
I mean, he isn't good.
Yeah.
He isn't good. They don't have a quarterback who's a threat to keep the passing game honest. A threat to keep the defense honest. Whether that's with his legs, whether that's with the throws he can make.
Now I need to Google the QBs drafted with Zach Wilson. So that was a Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson,
I think Mac Jones,
Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Justin Fields.
Was Fields that class?
Yeah, I believe so, if I remember correctly.
So I would go out on a limb and say, obviously Lawrence, great in that class.
Yeah, he's mediocre.
I think he's better than mediocre. He hasn't really played that well this year. But they should be better than they are. They just, for whatever reason, they're in a bit of a funk at the moment. But I think they're a reasonable team. Fields in this offense would make it more watchable. But you go around, Mac was the 5th quarterback off the board. And yeah, he was picked 10.
Yeah.
But he's still the 5th quarterback.
Yeah, like so as of right now, Jacksonville is 17th in passing yards per game.
Yeah. They were a better offense last year without Calvin Ridley.
They really were.
And I think ETN wasn't as good last year either.
No, I think ETN's playing really good football right now, personally. I think so.
I think he's been very well. Yeah, that's what I mean. He was been better this year than he was last year.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm agreeing with you on that one.
I think they limit themselves because they're worried about, the long-term implications of Trevor Lawrence using his legs too much. You want to build a franchise around a guy you don't want him to suffer a catastrophic injury, and I think that limits their offense because he's a very good running quarterback.
Trevor Lawrence?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, right now, like, yards per pass attempt, they're 18th. Passing touchdowns per game, 22nd. Sack percentage, 20th. Yeah, they're as of right now, passing play percentage, 20th. Wow. Passing yard percentage.
Yeah, they're a middling team.
15th. Yeah. I mean, they have 5 wins on the year. They're leading their division. Right now? Yeah, something like that. I mean, they're doing well.
6, 4, 7, and 3. That's a nice.
I mean, right now their defense.
That's a nice transition actually into justifiable overreactions because the first one I have here, Texans will win the AFC South.
Yeah, that's not even adjusted. That's like not even. That's like an expectation now.
Yeah, and they're a game back on the Jags, but they have the tiebreaker. They were playing. I know they've kind of snuck 2 wins the last 2 weeks, but they're playing good football.
They're playing really good football. I mean, yeah. I mean, they snuck 2 wins against 2 good teams.
Yeah. And that elevator theory, you've got Noah Brown, you've got Tank Dell, and you've got Nico Collins. Now, Nico Collins, I think, is probably a 2 on most teams. Noah Brown had washed out in a couple of places. And Tank Dell we talked about last week. But, you know, we're not talking about Calvin Johnson, Terrell Owens, and Randy Moss.
Yeah, exactly. Like right now, we're talking about like, if Nico Collins is not playing, like Noah Brown's almost a must start right now. And same with Tank Dell. Tank Dell is almost a must start right now. And I mean, I made a mistake in one league. I lost because I started Deontay Johnson over Tank Dell. I couldn't blame myself for that decision, but
I think that's perfectly justifiable.
Yeah, you know, it's just one of those where I feel like Deontay Johnson's going to get the targets against a secondary that is it's abusable, and he didn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
like maybe you know what, and that's where I went wrong in my thought process because the quarterback difference. One of them is an elevator, one of them is a relegator, and I think that's what a decision making I'm going to have to change my next go around.
I think that's something you can learn from week to week. But you got to remember, Johnson had come off a very good game, and Tank Dell had flashed once. And take, you know, I think you can look at that and go, well, I made the wrong decision, but the process was correct. And then you can, as you say, reevaluate the process now. I think Johnson's a must start most weeks. Anyway, second justifiable overreaction. Josh Dobbs is going to make a team very unhappy next year.
Oh, God. But which team?
He's obviously going to be a starter somewhere, and he's not going to be able to recreate the magic.
The Falcons? I don't know. Like, I can't think of a team now that is in a process where they're like, we need a bridge quarterback. Maybe the Giants?
Falcons, the Giants.
The Falcons, the Giants, yeah.
Depends if someone drafts, like, a project QB, and they want a starter who can, you know, teach someone.
The Raiders,
Patriots.
I will say he is fun to watch.
Exactly, and that's it. Is he can be on bad teams. He was fun to watch on the Cardinals, and they were a bad team.
He was fun. Like he is fun to watch. Like right now, I mean, it just got said that the Sunday Night Football is not getting flexed out against the Vikings and the Broncos. Originally, I would be incredibly salty if it stayed. But hey, guess what? We got the Pastronaut at quarterback.
What do you think of that as a nickname?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. It makes sense. The problem, it's not like the flashiest name, but it makes sense. So you kind of have to just go with it.
I don't love it.
Yeah,
he's not really a passing guy. He should be the run-stronaut.
Or something like that. Yeah, but quarterback. I don't know. It's difficult.
Should he be comeback player of the year?
He could be. I think it would be who tore his no, sorry, Lamar Hamlin. Is it his name? I forgot.
Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin, just for his heart attack. Even though I think he's been actually on the active roster once this year. I think he'll get it.
He was on the active roster on Monday night, and he was the extra man on the field that cost him.
What a G.
Yeah, start of the season, I was of the mind of like, well, it has to be him. If he comes back and plays one game, it has to be him. Yeah. Or John Mechie.
Yep.
I think you need to look at it from a broader perspective than just narrative. And I know that is a narrative-driven award, but this is a much more interesting candidate as far as I'm concerned. Buffalo's window has already closed.
Oh, we're definitely going to discuss Buffalo, and I was going to bring it up after. That was justifiable, but you know what? We might as well just do it now. Do it now. Yeah, the window's closed.
Yeah. And I couldn't be happy.
For the excitement of football, I'm a little sad. But realistically, in the realism of football, a little bit, yes, the window is kind of closed. It depends. Maybe the offensive coordinator they hired is able to go back and elevate the Bills to what they were a year or two ago. Yeah, well, yeah, he got fired. Exactly. The new one.
Oh, Joe Brady.
The new one. Yeah. Joe Brady. I mean, he's got Brady in his name. He can't be bad, right?
I think he was on the Saints a couple of years ago.
You know what? He can't be bad. His name is Brady.
I'm very glad because Buffalo fans were carrying on like they were the greatest team ever, and they achieved nothing. I was so happy with their whole Josh didn't get the ball. Like, just fucking deal with it. Like, I get you're a starved franchise, but sucked in.
They lost 4 Super Bowls in a row.
Sucked in. Yeah, I know. And one of those tough, the one with the kicker. I think they could reload and make another run. But with this, like, they're going to lose Diggs.
They need a number 2.
I think they're going to...
And that's the problem.
It's been your problem this week. You just really need number 2.
Yeah. Too soon.
So that was an off-air conversation. You know, I could see there's a world where they replace Diggs with Devontae Adams. I think if they get another receiver there, I know Gabe Davis is decent. They invest in Dalton Kincaid. I don't know. Something just stinks with that team. There's a stink to them. And I think
play calling. Yeah,
I think maybe they were just up for so long without doing anything.
Yeah, I think the play calling is an issue. The inability to run the ball is an issue. They were running the ball pretty decently last night against the Broncos, but they couldn't sustain it, and they couldn't keep Josh Allen from turning the ball over. I feel like some of the throws that he was making really didn't necessarily need to be made. Whether he's trying to make a play, and I think it also falls on him of him trying to play hero ball way too much, where he's like, I could just make the throw, I could just bullet pass it and make the throw, and he needs to realize, you know what, football is a game of finesse.
Yeah,
where you got to throw it over the linebacker, touch it right to the wide receiver's hands. You don't have to throw a bullet pass that's going to go through Gabe Davis. It's going to go through any logical human person's hands. Like that ball was if it was a fastball in MLB, that was a 115 miles per hour fastball. You think some average player is going to catch that? Even an elite player. Like, do you think they're going to catch that?
Yeah.
No, it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts. Like you got to think of it like from a realistic perspective. Like a normal person's not going to catch that, even with gloves. Give him some stickum. That's going through his hands regardless. And you know what, Justin Simmons, he happened to be in the right spot. But you know what, that's his job to be in the right spot. But it's Josh Allen's job to give him a catchable ball, which he did not do.
Yeah,
like I don't care if it hit him in the face mask. Like that's not a catchable ball.
I don't care if it hit him in the fucking face.
But yeah. Hopefully, you know, this offensive coordinator puts Josh Allen in a position where he's not turning the ball over consistently, over and over and over and over, because it's frustrating to watch, and that is a high flying, fun offense to watch.
Yeah,
when hitting on all cylinders. So I want to see a fun offense to watch, and I don't want to see. I mean, it's kind of fun watching Stephon Diggs having a temper tantrum and then having his brother subtweet everybody on Twitter, but I prefer fantasy points being earned.
Yes, yeah. The Diggs boy is like a like taking a Twitter, don't they? Like airing their thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no way he would have tweeted that without I mean, maybe it's possible, tweeted it without his brother conversational and consent of tweeting something like that, but that definitely was a discussion they had together.
For sure. Like, there's no other explanation, is there?
Yeah. So, window closed for this year. I want to say it because right now I think they're gonna have a difficult time making playoffs. Maybe they'll inch out a wild card spot. Actually, Miami isn't looking too hot either. Like they haven't beat a team over 500.
No.
So actually, you know what? It's not out of reach for them playoffs wise. Actually,
I think they'll probably still make the playoffs.
Yeah, they'll still make the playoffs.
But the AFC's wide open, so you know it's not quite anyone's game, but it's certainly a lot of people's game. And
what else you got for me?
That's it. We only ever do 3.
Okay, I got one for you.
Yes.
Zay Jones.
What about him?
What do you get arrested for?
That's a good question. Let me Google it.
Zay Jones arrested.
Domestic battery.
What's that mean?
Beating up his wife or partner.
What a G. Zay Jones was arrested Monday, charged with misdemeanor domestic battery after an argument with the mother of his child allegedly resulted in an injury to her neck, according to the arrest. But what a pimp. Anyway, He's
I don't
droppable.
endorse any of this behavior.
I don't endorse it, but I understand.
You know, if you're gonna behave like a dickhead, then you deserve to not be in the league. So
yeah.
I tell you what, in this same wheelhouse, I saw Tyreek Hill tweeted supporting Deshaun Watson this week.
Oh, okay, cool, nice.
He tweeted something along the lines of, "The Deshaun haters are real quiet this week."
He didn't necessarily play that well.
No, he absolutely didn't play that well. But also, like, maybe you're not making the case that you think you are, Tyreek.
Real quiet this week, huh? I like saying that. They've been real quiet this week.
Right. But yeah, I mean, that's just like one dickhead supporting another dickhead. So
nice.
Anyway,
hopefully the dickheads can sword fight.
Maybe. Should we get into some not the top 10?
All right, baby. Let's hit some not top 10 in this action. Of course, this is the segment where we rank actually, let me rephrase that. This is a segment where we look at the top 10 rankings in a specific position, whether it's the running back or wide receiver, and we claim who's not going to be in the top 10 and then replace with who we think will be. So, of course, let's start off with the running backs. Christian McCaffrey, number one. I think that's it.
So half point PPR?
Half point PPR.
And this is based on the Fantasy Pros ECR?
Yes. Yep. Actually, I think.
You mean you think?
I think.
What is on the screen in front of you?
So I went to week 11 rankings.
Oh, fair enough then. All right, run through it.
Am I right?
They should be the same.
I think they're the same.
I don't know. Will you tell me? I've got them in front of me.
Okay, so Christian McCaffrey at 1, Austin Eckler at 2, Travis Etienne at 3, Josh Jacobs at 4, Breece Hall at 5. That's a questionable one. Jahmyr Gibbs at 6, Devon Achane at 7, Raheem Mostert at 8, DeAndre Swift at 9, Tony Pollard at 10. I got question marks for this rankings, but I'll let you start it off.
Okie dokie. I think the first one that jumps out there, Devon Achane.
Yeah.
Incredible player, great matchup, just coming off IR. We don't know what that workload's going to be. I think we can draw a line through him to begin with.
Yeah, I would.
Back to the top, McCaffrey, Eckler, fine. We talked about ETN having a great season versus Tennessee. You can do whatever you like to them.
Oh.
Jahmyr Gibbs, I think his leading fantasy points per touch in the NFL for the season. Has looked very, very good. Versus Chicago, I'm okay with him there.
Yeah. Now, Montgomery is number 11. He's itching to come into the top 10.
He's itching to come into the top 10. I think both Achane and Mostert, Montgomery and Gibbs being here is a function of experts not knowing which one's going to be the lead back. That's why they're so high.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Jahmyr Gibbs is the consensus 6. I think he's probably just been put quite high by a lot of people. But I don't know if he's the 6th best. The other two, I'm okay with Pollard, I'm okay with Swift, and I think Raheem Mostert is a top 10 running back when he plays.
Yeah, let's talk about Pollard real fast. So right now he's in the 10, and there's no reason for him not to be in the top 10. I just can't think of a week, other than maybe week 1 or week 2, where he was actually in the top 10.
He's just a meat and potatoes guy.
I don't know what that means.
That's what it boils down to, is like he's not a flashy running back. He just gets the job done.
Does he?
He's not really, actually, looking at these numbers. Oh, hang on, because I'm looking at standard. Sorry. He's been disappointing. Absolutely. Well, he's been disappointing the last 3 weeks. I always have him as like, he's a 10-point guy.
That's not good enough for the guy who drafted in the 3rd round.
No, absolutely not. Best weekly finish is 5th overall in week 1 with 21 points. Has hit above 10 4 above 10 4 times, below 10 5 times. Never done so bad as to totally tank your week, but never really delivered either.
He had 15 rushes against the Giants for 55 yards.
Yeah, he's just like that's the sort of player he is. You know, I
expected way more.
He's not going to blow up a team.
I expected way more because he was blowing up teams last year.
Yeah, he's good as the lightning to the thunder. Like I don't think he's a lead guy. I think he's a 1B.
Against the Eagles, 12 carries for 51 yards. That's embarrassing.
So
no, it's not that bad actually. It's 4.3 yards per carry.
I would notionally, coming back to the top 10, I'd notionally drop Josh Jacobs out.
Oh,
but also he's one of the true bell cows in the league.
Yeah,
and I'm going to make sweeping changes here, where I think he probably just falls backwards into the top 10 because of the workload he gets. So I'm going to take out Breece Hall at Buffalo. I'm going to take out Devon Achane, and I'm going to take out Meat and Potatoes Pollard.
Okay.
I'm going to replace them with, from number 17 with a bullet, Brian Robinson Jr. versus New York.
Ooh, okay.
He has been... I've been impressed with what he's brought to bear. Let's have a look at the game log here before I go. He's been fantastic and he's been shit. He's had a first overall finish, an 11th overall finish. This week he was the RB3. He'd had a couple of mid-weeks in there, but he'd been the 16 and the 11 pretty recently. He gets a touchdown, might get 2 touchdowns. I'm putting him in the top 10. And the Giants, Washington will win that game, and it'll be close enough that there'll be a lot of work for both teams.
Yeah, I'm not going to hate on that one.
I am also going to put in James Conner versus Houston.
Okay.
Kyler Murray back in the team. Obviously, that means that Kyler's going to be running, but also Josh Jobs ran a lot as well. Started the season, he was RB11, RB6 in 2 of his first 3 games. Dropped off a bit thereafter. But Houston, you can run on Houston. They should need to be moving the ball a lot. I like James Conner getting into the top 10. And I'm just kind of a James Conner guy.
He's a nice guy. I like him. Actually, I don't know if he's a nice guy. He's a rootable guy.
Rootable is Australian slang for fuckable.
I stand corrected. That just proves my point, baby. Come on.
And that leaves me with a couple of options here to come in. Aaron Jones, who's been up and down. Saquon, who's been up and down. Kenneth Walker, who's been up and down. And Derrick Henry, who likes to take Jacksonville behind the woodshed, but has been a shadow of his former self. I'm going to say this is the last great Derrick Henry game. Like the last great 150-yarder.
Oh.
So I'm putting him in the top 10. So to recap, out comes Breece Hall, out comes Devon Achane, out comes Tony Pollard. Into that top 10 come Brian Robinson, James Conner, Derrick Henry.
Okay. That's gonna be a tough one to top. Okay, so I really wanted to take out Breece Hall. I'm gonna leave him in there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna get a bunch of carries, and the Buffalo team is either gonna be incredibly demoralized, or it's super energized, and Breece Hall's either gonna do nothing or have a really good game. I think he's gonna have a really good game. I'm going to take out Gibbs. And I'm going to take out Achane. And I'm going to take out Tony. I really don't want to take out Tony Pollard. There's no reason to take out Tony Pollard, but I feel like I almost need to. But, there's no thematic reason. It makes 0 sense to take out Tony Pollard.
And yet
I want to. But I am going to put faith in the young boy. And I'm going to keep him in the top 10.
Interesting.
So right now I got A-Chain and Gibbs out of the top 10. I'm going to put Aaron Jones in.
Very interesting.
Aaron Jones is going to have a good game against the Chargers because the Chargers allow running backs to have good games.
Yep.
Whether they like it or not. Like, their running back is going to have a good game. So I think Aaron Jones is going to have a top 10 performance.
Yeah.
Oh, DeAndre Swift in Kansas City. I want to take him out.
I think I don't mind that. I think Swift gets enough work that you can bank on him.
Yeah, you can bank on him getting work. Top 10, though.
True.
Top 10 is what, like 15 points, you think?
12. It's at like
12.
60 and a touchdown will probably get you close to it.
60 and a touchdown. God, okay.
That'll
That's a
get you.
really
That'll
low
get you in
bar.
the conversation.
I know, that's a really low bar.
Welcome
Okay.
Welcome
okay,
to
you know
fantasy
what?
football this year.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so some players in my mind that I sat there and thinking, okay, they can go inside the top 10, like Rashad White, Devin Singletary.
I looked at Singletary. I think White's shit, but I looked at Singletary.
Yeah, White, he gets a lot of those receptions, which elevate and inflate his fantasy production. And I mean, he's had multiple games with big passing games, or receiving games, I should say. But I'm going to put Javonte Williams in the top 10.
I like the sound of that, and I'll tell you why. Because I have a lot of Javonte Williams.
You're welcome. So, going against Minnesota, good matchup.
Yes.
Has been a little bit of a favorite of Russell Wilson.
Yes.
He's always in, and he's hauling in receptions. I mean, he had 21 carries, 4 catches. Like he has multiple ways of getting fantasy points. He's not, Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, or ETN type of receiving back. But he's a little Walmart version of them right now.
Yeah.
And because of that, he has been when healthy and playing, he's been a solid fantasy aspect to your team, especially because you didn't really draft him that early. But that doesn't matter at this point. I'm putting Javonte Williams in the top 10, and I'm putting Aaron Jones in the top 10, and I'm taking out, of course, Devin A-Chain and not Tony Pollard, sorry, Gibbs and A-Chain, they're leaving, and I'm in placing Jones and Javonte Williams.
That's a tough call on Gibbs. He's got a lot of the ball the last couple of weeks.
He has, but he hasn't also gotten the touchdowns. And if he has gotten the touchdowns, he's gotten them because they were outside, the 15-yard line-ish?
I thought he got one from the goal line this week. Or am I thinking of
Did
someone
he?
else?
I don't know. Maybe after Montgomery got his 2 touchdowns, then they were like, oh, we'll give it to Gibbs now.
Maybe. I could be misremembering.
I don't remember.
Anyone further down here interest you? I'm going to throw out Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt's interesting.
He's interesting. Keaton Mitchell. He looks like he's going to be a player.
Yes, but he only gets 5 to 7 touches a game. I mean, he only had 4 touches in Baltimore's game. He just happened to have a 66-yard run.
Maybe they should have given him the ball more, and they might have fucking
Maybe.
won instead of pissing that game away.
Yeah, not the worst idea. Not the worst idea. I mean, Lamar Jackson. They put up 31 points. Lamar Jackson should have had more than 11 that game.
He just could not stop turning the ball over.
Nah, it's just
He had a
Lamar
pick six
Jackson's
right at the
overrated.
end that ended up being the difference.
Yeah, I don't think that was his fault, was it? Wasn't it tipped? Or through the hands of a receiver?
Could be. Actually, this is something I was going to talk to you about this week. Because
Okay.
you're a big baseball guy.
Yes,
I feel like for interceptions, there needs to be a scoring system like errors in baseball.
Yeah. Yes.
Where you go, okay, so it's still an interception, but that interception is not on the quarterback.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Like-
I wish there was a stat of that kind for quarterbacks because, a lot of the times it'll show a quarterback had 2 interceptions, right? Or 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And we're going to go, he had an average game, but he made some mistakes. But one of those interceptions went through the hands of a receiver. Like Josh Allen's interception, I'm still going to put it 100% on him because nobody should be legally able to catch that football that he threw.
Yep.
But in instances where it goes through the hands of a receiver and it happens to just go into a defender's hands afterwards, it's not the quarterback's fault. If it hits him in the hands, they should catch it.
I would say, much like much like the fumbles and fumbles recovered, you have
Yeah.
and you'd have an E1 or an I1, which is bad throw by the quarterback, and that encompasses every throw that Mac Jones makes. That encompasses the Josh Allen's put too much sauce on it, all of those ones. Then there's good play by the defense. That's still negative points in fantasy, where that's the cornerbacks jump the route, or someone's made an incredible catch, or the lineman's tipped it and then someone's picked it off. And then the E3 is on the receiver. Like, receiver should have caught it, receiver tipped the ball up, and then the defender caught it. And they should be, that should be, instead of minus whatever it is in your league, that should be, like either -1 or just not on the quarterback.
Yeah, the only problem with that, or the only counter argument, is you're digging up the rabbit hole of, okay, what about penalties? Okay, like a pass interference penalty should go to the receiver.
No.
He should get the points for that.
No.
Or something like that.
No. It has to be actual plays, because there's no guarantee the receiver would have caught it anyway. So I could tackle you, and you could have run along 100 times, but you still could have dropped it once, and there's an unknown there. This is, there's a subjective element, and you'd need to... You'd have scores being adjusted after the games, basically, with the interceptions, as they're marked one way or the other.
Yeah.
But no, with something like pass interference, because even if the receiver's impeded, there's no guarantee they would have caught the ball anyway. So,
fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. All right.
Right. Let's have a look at wide receivers.
Let's hit it on a wide receiver marks. All right. So one, we got Tyreek Hill. I think that's pretty standard. Amon-Ra, the Sun God Same Brown, baby, against Chicago. He's going against his brother. Did you know that?
I did know that. Equanimous Brown.
They have the coolest names.
They do. They have another brother called Osiris.
Hey, that is definitely cool. So they're named after Greek gods?
Egyptian
Or not
gods.
Greek gods. Egyptians. Yes, there we go. Sorry.
You got a favorite Egyptian god?
The Yu-Gi-Oh the cards. Yeah, let's see. Shoot. I know there was a Amon something Raw Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Ra? It's God of the
Ra.
Sun.
Yeah, and that was the card kind of art. But Egyptian gods, no, I'm not too familiar with them. Honestly, I'm more familiar with the Nordic gods.
Oh yeah, who's your Nordic god of choice? Like a Thor, a Boulder?
Thor. That's a good question. Heimler, probably.
Heimler.
Yeah,
What's his deal?
he's cool.
You think of Heimdall?
Heimdall. Yeah, sorry, the name. Sorry.
I was like, have you just combined
I just combined the names.
Heinrich
I know.
Himmler into one name?
I know. Yeah, I did. I literally quite did.
Yeah, he's a very different sort of operator, Heinrich Himmler. Sorry, keep rolling through. I'll stop distracting you.
Sorry. It's AJ Brown at 3. CD just nuts at 4. Stefan, can you dig this on another team 5? Keenan Allen at 6. God, Keenan Allen has been a phenomenal draft pick for anybody who took him. Yeah. Jamar Chase at 7. Cooper Kupp at 8. Mike Evans at 9. And Davante Adams at 10. Alrighty. I'll let you start it off once again.
I'm kind of torn here. I think you could argue that there is not a change to be made here. That in some form, these will be the top 10 this week. However, the future is now, old man. Mike Evans, Davante Adams dropping out.
Oh.
Evans had a horrible drop on the weekend and then had an incredible catch he fought through for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's not why he's dropping out. He's dropping out because Miami are playing Las Vegas and Jalen Waddle is coming in.
Waddle.
And that's it from me. And then the other one, obviously I want it to be DK Metcalf. We've talked about my disappointment with DK Metcalf, and I would like for it to be him. I could see there being a case for Terry McLaurin against the Giants. We talked about my love for Brian Robinson just before. And Sam Howell, who definitely sounds like a Civil War general to a degree.
Yep.
Oh, I fought with fighting Sam Howell.
North or south? Oh, sorry, you're not. You're European. Sorry, it's okay.
Look, good people on both sides. No, I think it's definitely a South. I think Sam's a Southern name.
Okay.
Like Sam Houston is who I'm thinking.
Okay.
And I know that was a different war, but I think you can look at Sam Howell and say this guy's a very fun player to watch.
He is.
The guy I think I'm going to put in to replace here, I kind of want to put in Amari Cooper because he's been very good this year.
He has been.
I kind of want to put in Nico Collins or Noah Brown because they've been just blowing it up.
They have been.
Blowing it up. And the other guy, and I was pleased to see him come back, pleased to see how he played, was Deebo Samuel.
Yes.
And he had the long end around touchdown, and you're like, oh, that's old school Deebo. I really like it. Like, maybe that's a sign. So that's kind of my thinking there. Plus, you got DK's due for a blow up game. We've talked about him. Jefferson's not going to play, is he? He's on the list here.
So far, no.
No. Nico Collins back with a vengeance versus Arizona.
Is he official back?
I'm going to say it's either going to be Nico Collins or Noah Brown. I'm going to have a bob each way. His calf. Yeah, his calf. I haven't seen an update for this week.
No, there isn't one yet.
Okay, well, calves can take a little bit of time, but I'm going to say if it's either Nico Brown or Noah Collins. No, it's either Nico Collins or Noah Brown for that last spot in the top 10 for me. Because I think that's going to be fantasy point bonanza, that game.
Yeah. I am going to take out Devontae Adams. Yeah, number 10. Sorry, buddy. Get out of the list. I'm also going to take out Jamar Chase.
Interesting. Is that because he had the big, long touchdown on a kind of broken play, and that's hard to repeat?
Yes, and I'm also going to take out Stephon Diggs.
I like that.
I know it's weird to take out Stephon Diggs. I'm not going to say he has a bad... Actually, he's going against the Jets. Yeah, he's not going to have the best game, man. Josh Allen decides that he wants to be a special against the Jets on a consistent basis. So I'm not going to sit there and say this is going to be different. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, it just might. With the new coordinator, but
I could see a world where after the issues of this week, and you've got Diggs Jr. coming out and baking him, that they go, all right, I'm just going to give this guy 15 targets.
I hope so. I really, 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 really hope so. I just don't think the Jets will allow it to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
and if they do, and if they
cornerback,
exactly, and you know, and if they do try to allow that, then I think there will be a lot of interceptions. But you know, I'm actually like, there is a couple leagues where I have the Jets defense. I will be starting them against the Bills.
Interesting.
Yes, I will be starting them. So I'm taking out Stephon Diggs, and I'm taking out Jamar Chase, and I'm taking out Mike Evans. I really don't want to sound like a hot take artist.
I don't think any of those are hot takes, and the whole point of this show that we do, the whole point of this activity is that we look at, you know, we look at the accepted wisdom and we say that's true and that's not. So I think that the game of this is to find hot takes in a sense.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put Tank Dell in there.
Yep.
He's been just hot right now. The team's been hot. I expect him to continue that run. I think they do have a good matchup in Arizona, and I expect him to stretch the field and consistently put on a show. Did you notice the squabble dance? That, you know, it's starting to take the squabble. It's starting to take the lead. Yeah, the squabble dance. You know, have you heard of the squabble dance yet? It's been a little bit of the popular this year's gritty, if you will.
What does it look like?
It's an executable dance. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you're gonna look at it and you're like, oh, you know what? I think I could do that.
I've just got good at The gritty.
I've been practicing the grid here. I'll do it with you. Squabble.
I'm looking at. I'm going to look at it
Dance
right
NFL.
now.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now with you. Squabble Dance NFL. CJ Stroud has been the one I would say is doing it the most. Him and Olave, they've been doing it the most.
Okay, here we go. No, that's fucking nothing.
It's not much, no, but it's like it's executable.
Nah, this is nothing. This is absolutely nothing.
What do you mean?
Look, it's just like this isn't a dance.
It's like like turning the steering wheel and like moving forward.
No. This is bullshit. I like the gritty. There's some coordination required for the gritty. This is just no.
Yeah.
I don't like it's. No, I'm not copping that. I'm not.
You're going through the stages of acceptance right now.
I'm just a grumpy old man.
Yeah, you're on stage 3 right now. It's okay.
I'm a grumpy old man, and I'm fine with that. I was always a big fan of the Dirty Bird.
The Dirty Bird is, the problem is it's niche where you could only do it against bird teams. More specifically, you're supposed to do it against the Falcons, but
it's the Falcons who do it.
People do it against the Falcons now. Nobody on the Falcons really does the Dirty Bird.
So Calais Campbell did it the other day after a sack.
Yeah, he did actually. Yeah, he did.
It's like, he's doing the Dirty Bird. So yeah, big fan of the Dirty Bird. Another old school one like the Iki Shuffle.
Yeah, that's old school. Sorry.
Yeah, even from this world of new stuff, I don't mind the gritty. I also like a shit Mike Gesicki gritty.
It was flashy. All right. Okay. All right.
Good talk.
Well, I expect
good gritty talk.
Yeah, good gritty talk. All right. Well, I expect Tank Dell and CJ Stroud to be hitting the squabble a couple times this weekend.
Hitting the squabble.
The squabble. I just like the name. I think this name's kind of cool. Squabble.
It just means like an argument. Oh, they're squabbling.
Oh, they're squabbling. Yeah. Hey, you having a squabble over there, buddy?
Yeah, people. I don't know. They probably possibly don't say that in America. Oh yeah, there's a bit of a squabble. There's a squabble in the middle. Like, no, we got it. Yeah, it's supposed because you don't have squabbles. You got guns. No. You don't need to squabble.
Damn right, baby. That's what we do out here in America, baby. America. Respect it. Put some respect on our Second Amendment. Get wrecked.
Do you own a gun?
Get wrecked, buddy. I do not. I don't trust myself with a gun.
No,
I think guns are phenomenal. I just don't trust myself with one.
There you go.
Yeah. I have to make the educated decision there. All right, so I am going to add Rashee Rice.
Interesting.
Into the top 10. I think he's going to cement himself as the best receiver. Technically, I think he already has, but I think this is going to be this is going to be the breakout game for him. This is going to be a big game, Super Bowl rematch.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Unfortunately, Travis Kelce is just not going to get it done himself. That offense and that team in general on the offensive side of the football, without a running game, consistent running game, I should say, and without an actual number one receiver, that offense is not going to succeed or be a Super Bowl bound team, regardless of Mahomes at quarterback. I think that Rashee Rice right here is going to cement himself, and he's going to be tagged as an every week must start type of player.
He's definitely flashed this year.
He's flashing like every week. You feel like, okay, that's the guy, or he'll make a play and you're like, yep, that's definitely the guy, but it's not consistent enough. Whether Andy Reid's not putting him in a position to make plays, whether the scheme needs to be adjusted for him to be a number one wide receiver, or he's just not good enough, or nobody on that team is good enough. And you know what? We're just going to keep fishing until next year when they actually draft or trade for a number one receiver.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's I think that's a fair assessment. So
Yep.
run me through your top 10 again, and then we'll
Okay.
we'll roll into the back of the show.
Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, AJ Brown, CeeDee's nuts, and then let's see. I took out Stephon Diggs, and I put Tank Dell in there.
Yep.
I took Keenan Allen. Jamar Chase is gone, and I put, of course, Rashee Rice, Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, number 10. Now, honorable mention would be Brandon Ayuk
Yep.
to the top 10. Adam Thielen would also be another honorable mention.
Yep.
Considering I think he's been doing it consistently so far.
You've been doing it.
He's been doing it. He's been squabbling.
He's definitely not a squabbler.
No, he's not a squabbler. I think he's still practicing the gritty.
Yeah. I hit the gritty at work the other day.
How'd it go?
Our intern laughed at me and asked if I was embarrassed. And I said no.
She should be embarrassed.
She should be embarrassed. I was like,
Tell
I
her
don't
to
care.
tell her to get back in the kitchen.
Tell you what is embarrassing. I'm certainly not going to tell her that. I just beat everyone like 6 games in a row. So
What?
Uno.
What was
So,
embarrassing?
I wasn't embarrassed. It's
Oh,
embarrassing
yeah.
to
You
lose.
were like, oh, you know what's embarrassing? And then
They were embarrassing.
Damn straight.
Embarrassingly bad.
yeah. It's only embarrassing if you care what other people think.
But yeah, I won't be squabbling.
No, you won't be squabbling?
No, I don't like it.
All right. Okay, that's fair. Alrighty.
Awesome.
Kick us on home.
We have 2-minute drill.
Alrighty. Would you like to start it off?
I think it's my turn.
All
I
right,
think it's
hit
my
it.
turn. Let me get my little timer up here. Okie dokie, 2-minute drill. We are up and going. Let me start this week talking about the Chiefs and Eagles, Monday Night Football.
Hit it.
Game of the year. Is this a preview of the Super Bowl? I think it
No.
could possibly be. Certainly, I think when they planned it, they were hoping that it would be. The Eagles, I think, are going to run away with this one. They are a better team than the Chiefs at the moment. I think if this was the Super Bowl, you'd back the Chiefs. But I really like what the Eagles are doing. There is no better player in the NFL this year than AJ Brown. I think there would be a legitimate conversation that he is the MVP this year. He is incredible. He and Tyreek Hill just streets ahead of anyone else at that position. And it makes everything a lot of fun to watch. Another game that I am looking forward to this week, I tell a lie, there's not too many of them. It's a bit of a nothing week again. Ravens-Bengals Thursday night should be good. Browns-Steelers in the early window on Sunday should be good. But the rest of them, I mean, we talked about this last week. This should be blowout city. I don't know in this early window what game I would predict to be close. And I don't want to talk about all of them because that will leave you with nothing to talk about. But I'm going to say I think this is a party game for the Lions. And I know their big game is Thanksgiving, and that's coming up. I love watching the Lions on Thanksgiving with all the John Madden shit and the blue and everything. The Lions and Thanksgiving, I love it. I fucking love Thanksgiving anyway. But this is going to be a party game. This is going to be like a 40 burger. This is going to be beating up on an old rival and genuinely announce themselves as a powerhouse in the NFC. I think already they're on track to probably go make a bit of a deep playoff run, but I think this is it. I think this is their absolute coming out party. I'm going to say they're going to win by at least 3.5 touchdowns.
You guys have Thanksgiving over there in Europe?
No, it's strictly an American holiday. I know Canada does
as
as
it
well.
should be. As it should be.
But no, I love Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We're gonna have some friends around on Thursday for it. So cook some food and watch the football. What not to love?
There we go.
It's the best holiday.
It's a good holiday. I do have to say, it is a good holiday.
Well, what are you going into bat for? It's the best holiday.
What do you mean?
What do you like?
Hey, Christmas
Halloween?
Christmas is the best holiday.
Why's
That's
that?
it. There's no defense.
Because you get presents as well.
No. So, Christmas stopped being fun when I became Santa Claus. No, but it's nice. It's like a family gathering. Thanksgiving is a family gathering. I just feel like there's more of a family gathering during Christmas. It is also happens to be the same day as my mom's birthday.
Oh, there you
so
go.
you kind of get a little bit of a 2-for-1 there. That means I only have to buy one present, right? And yeah, it's just a feel good. It's a good feeling type of like week and a month in general. Like December is a feel good month.
Yeah, December's great. I'm a big fan of December. But no.
And then of course you go into a shopping center, grocery store, and you can hear the phenomenal singing of Mariah Carey's "All I Want for Christmas Is You."
That's true. That's true. But yeah, for me, it's absolutely Thanksgiving. Family, food. You don't have to worry about presents. It's there's football. It's great. It's great.
Right.
Anyway, get going.
All right, and hit start on the timer. Boom, baby. So I'm gonna talk about for one moment the fact that the Dolphins that we mentioned earlier have not beat a team with an over 500 record. Well, here comes the Las Vegas Raiders with a, let me check real fast, 500 record. And I'm sure if I was to come here and tell everybody that the Raiders are going to come in with a backup rookie, third string quarterback, and a disgruntled wide receiver one, when I don't even know what on defense were to come in and just embarrass the Dolphins, you guys would think I'm crazy. But that's what's going to happen, baby, because the history and the stat is the stat. And that's what's going to happen. So right now I am going to guarantee. Actually, I'm not going to guarantee. But the Raiders, I'm predicting the Raiders beat the Dolphins. And continue that stat that the Dolphins are 1 pretenders to. 2 very fun football team to watch. Don't get me twisted. They're a very fun football team to watch. But 3, that they are still not there yet as a football team, consistency wise and defensively wise. But I think that'll be a fun game to watch, and it's going to be a talking point throughout the whole year. I also want to shout out the Titans and the Jaguars. I think that'll also be a good secondary game to keep an eye on, just because, one, we get to see Will Levis on a very good defense that is the Jaguars. I don't want to say statistically a good defense, but they are the highest turnover rate defense. So they have one of the highest turnovers conversions percentages in the league. So I would like to see how Will Levis does against a defense that consistently causes turnovers on the defensive side of the football. And then, of course, I want to see Trevor Lawrence against a pretty good defense in itself, because I'm not convinced in Trevor Lawrence very much. But, hey, that's just my opinion.
Is it Levis or Levis? Because
I think it's Levis.
I can think of another 5-letter word that is sort of blank E blank IS. And you don't say penis.
Yeah. Penis.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, but okay, here.
It's not
say
not
the
Beavis.
jeans.
It's not Beavis and Butthead.
Say the jeans.
Yeah, it's Levi's.
Levi's, and that's
but
wrong.
His name's not Will. No, because it's Levi apostrophe S.
Yeah.
His name's not Will Levi's though.
So it's Will Levis.
No.
What was yours?
By that logic, it would be Levis. Or Levi's.
Well, how about you go ask him?
I call him Levis.
You call him Levis? You know what? We'll watch the game and then see how the announcers do it. But then again, they might not be right.
They give it both.
Yeah, they'll do both.
I think it's Levis. Like Levis and Butthead.
Levis.
Have you got a prognostication for me?
Yeah, I don't actually. I lied.
I think I got mine right last week. I need to go back and check the tape.
What was yours?
I think it might have been that there'd be more points in the first quarter of Chargers Lions than there would in the entirety of Colts Patriots.
Oh God.
I think I was right.
It's close. Yeah, that might be close. That might be close.
As I say, I need to go back and check the tape.
Yeah. Shoot, I really don't have a good one. I really don't. I'm trying to think of something. It's tough.
It is tough.
It's tough to think of outlandish takes that aren't going to hit.
I tell you something that we haven't seen for a while. And I think there's going to be 2 instances of it happening this week.
Oh, ties?
No, an extra point run back.
Oh,
Like a turnover on a 2-point conversion, or a blocked kick goes all the way back. I'm going to say I haven't seen one for a couple of years. 2 of them this week.
Okay. Okay. All right. There's going to be 5 interceptions for touchdowns this week.
5 pick sixes. I could see that. I could see that happening. I don't know what the average would be a week. Probably 3.
I don't even think that. I think it's maybe 1 or 2. Like last week, the only one that I could think of off the top of my head is the pick 6 from the Ravens game.
That's the only one I could think of. I'm sure there was another one. I think the Ravens even got... Yeah, no, there were 2 in that game. Kyle Hamilton got 1.
And that's right. He was the first play of the... Yep.
Yeah, okay, 5. We'll go with that.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
All right. Well, let's lead on home. Well, of course, this is going to have to wrap up this episode. Sheahan, where could everybody find you?
You can find me on X at Sheahan Solo.
Yeah, I would tell you to follow mine, but I was talking trash to some people. It's probably not safe for work now on my Twitter. I'm not gonna link anybody yet.
What was with you changing your name on Twitter this week?
Yeah, so that's exactly why I changed it, because I figured, you know what, it's probably not good for work.
There we go. There we go. Pete Rowland.
Yeah, so I decided to delete it, and I you know what, I might have to make a new Twitter account just so I can keep trash talking, making fun of, and insulting people.
I think I said this last week. I cannot wait for X to finally implode, and I'm just done with it in my life.
You know, I would think it, but then I went on Threads, and it's an absolute dumpster fire in the same way.
Yep, got no interest in that either.
Yeah, exactly.
Got no interest in that. Or you're squabbling. Right, let's do it. Let's go.
All right.
I got to start work in 10 minutes.
Oh, sorry, sir. All right.
That's
Good
all right.
luck, everybody.
Bye.